We're going to begin with that big ABC News exclusive interview with Will Packer, the lead producer of Sunday's Oscars ceremony, speaking out publicly now for the first time about that behind-the-scenes chaos after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock on stage.
From Rock's stunned reaction to the LAPD saying they were ready to arrest Smith on the spot. He spoke with our TJ Holmes, who joined us now to fill us in. Good morning, TJ.
This is fascinating, guys. Now, we have heard, of course, from Will Smith. He put out a statement. We've heard from a couple of the hosts. We heard from the Academy letting us know that they have an investigation underway. But now we're hearing from a guy who was in charge of the entire broadcast. Will Packer was sitting right there just off stage when this moment took place. His reaction was the same as millions across the country. Confusion initially. It was followed by chaos and then conversations about what this thing was and the conversations many of us were having. Why was Will Smith allowed to stay in the room? Well, it turns out there was one person in particular, according to Will Packer, who was advocating for Will Smith to stay in the room. Chris Rock.
It sounds like Chris Rock had the ability, the option, to have the LAPD go arrest and remove Will Smith from that theater that night.
That's an absolute fact. The LAPD made it clear, we will do whatever you want us to do, and one of the options is that we will go and arrest him right now.
Will Packer is breaking his silence, giving details about what happened backstage in the immediate aftermath of that Oscar night shocker when Will Smith walked onto the stage and slapped comedian Chris Rock.
Will Smith just smacked the out of me.
That moment came after what we now know was an unscripted joke from Rock about Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, who's recently been vocal about her battle with alopecia.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
You're sitting, monitors around you. Tell me what's in your room around you.
I said, watch this. He's gonna kill. Because I knew he had an amazing lineup of jokes that we had. We had him in the prompter. And ultimately, he did not get to one joke. He didn't tell one of the planned jokes. He was just immediately freestyling. But I tell you, if there's anybody that you don't worry about going out in front of a live audience and riffing off the cuff, it's Chris Rock. Nobody's better.
But even as Smith made his way up on stage, Packer wasn't worried.
And I thought this was part of something that Chris and Will were doing on their own. I thought it was a bit. I thought it was a bit like everybody else. I knew we hadn't practiced it.
Not concerned.
I wasn't concerned at all.
As he's walking.
I figured, okay, you know, he's going to say something or come at him. Something funny is going to happen because that's the nature of Chris and that's the nature of Will. So let's see what happens.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
I'm going to, okay?
Once I saw Will yelling at the stage with such vitriol, my heart dropped. And I just remember thinking, oh no, not like this. And Chris was keeping his head when everybody else was losing theirs. And then, you know, gave the quote.
That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
But my heart at that point was just in my stomach because of everything about it and what it represented and what it looked like and who was involved. All of that was just, I've never felt so immediately devastated like I did in that moment.
But it still wasn't until Rock walked backstage that Packer was finally convinced that Smith had actually struck him.
The winners are walking off stage, Chris is with them. And I immediately go up to Chris.
And you say what or you do what?
I said, did he really hit you? And he looked at me and he goes, yeah. He goes, I just took a punch from Muhammad Ali, as only Chris can. He was immediately, you know, in joke mode, but you could tell that he was very much still in shock.
It's fascinating to hear that you had a few minutes to try to process or understand what had just taken place. But not until Chris Rock came off stage, you still were not sure if he'd been hit.
I knew it was clearly a confrontational moment because of what was happening from Will in the audience, but I still wasn't sure that he had actually struck him. I made that clear, like, Rock, you tell me, whatever you want to do, brother. And he was telling me, I'm fine. Let's just get past this. I'm getting out of here. I can't believe this happened, the LAPD came and needed to talk to Chris. And so they came into my office and they were laying out very clearly what Chris's rights were. And they were saying, this is battery. We will go get him. We are prepared. We're prepared to get him right now. You can press charges. We can arrest him. As they were talking, Chris was, he was being very dismissive of those options. He was like, no, I'm fine. He was like, no. And even to the point where I said, Rock, let him finish. And they said, would you like us to take any action? And he said, no. He said no. And I didn't have any conversation with Will.
But the Academy says they asked Smith to leave, which he refused.
A lot of folks immediately were wondered why he got up, walked that far, assaulted somebody, went back to his seat and was allowed to stay.
Right.
What was the conversation behind the scenes?
It happened to be right before the Best Actor Award. Shayla told me that they were about to physically remove Will Smith. And I had not been a part of those conversations. And so I immediately went to the Academy leadership that was on site and I said, Chris Rock doesn't want that. I said, Rock has made it clear that he does not want to make a bad situation worse. That was Chris's energy. His tone was not retaliatory. His tone was not aggressive and angry. And so I was advocating what Rock wanted in that time, which was not to physically remove Will Smith at that time, because as it has now been explained to me, that was the only option at that point. It has been explained to me that there was a conversation that I was not a part of to ask him to voluntarily leave.
Will Smith later said on Instagram, I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I'm embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be.
When did you finally get a chance to touch base with Will Smith?
Will Smith reached out to me the next morning and said, and he apologized. And he said, this should have been a gigantic moment for you. And he expressed his embarrassment, and that was the extent of it.
Now, Will Smith reportedly did apologize to board members in a Zoom call this week. They are going to make a decision. We expect sometime April 18th. Now, at the bottom of the hour, you're going to hear more in this interview, and you're going to hear how Will Packer really calls Chris Rock a hero for saving the day, not just from what you saw on screen, on stage, but also behind the scenes. He almost just single-handedly saved the day and save the Oscars. And you also hear how this was such a great night that was going for them, to the point they were almost in tears backstage. It was going so well.
What's most amazing, though, is even the guy who ran the show thought in the first minute that it was a joke.
To the point, it took him forever. Until Chris Rock said, I was hit. He didn't believe it.
And for Chris Rock to be able to hold it together, finish what he had to do, and then go backstage and keep it together, and wow.
Unbelievable.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.